Hello everyone and welcome once again to Common Man Linux. I am Kabir and today as I told you in my previous video that I will be reviewing LMDE, the Linux Mint Debian Edition 7 after it will get released. So today is the review video. I know it's a little bit delayed. It was actually released on October 14th, but actually I got a little late to review it. But anyways, let's review it now. So as you can see here, the blog.linuxmint.com and LMDE, if you don't know, it is an official Debian flavor of Linux Mint, created by Linux Mint team, maintained by Linux Mint team. That is why it seems very interesting that why this Linux Mint team is maintaining another version which is identical to Ubuntu edition. So in the last video, the version which we reviewed was the official Linux Mint video. It was the official Linux Mint. Let me just tell you, Linux Mint 22.2. Let me just show you. Linux Mint 22.2 Zara released. This is the Ubuntu based flavor of Linux Mint, which so all of the energy of Linux Mint is actually focused on this main Linux Mint project, but the Linux Mint team also maintains a separate Linux Mint project, which is the LMDE, and LMDE is the Linux Mint Debian Edition. So what is this LMDE? LMDE stands for Linux Mint Debian Edition, and Debian, as you know, is a very rock solid stable operating system. In the first video, the introductory video of this channel, I have talked to you that I will be reviewing the stable and most everyday user friendly operating system only on this channel. So this Linux Mint is one of the most user friendly, and this LMD is the, I can say, the second most user friendly. So Debian, if you don't know, if you are a new, what I can say, a new person to the Linux world, Debian is a operating system just like Ubuntu, and it is maintained by the Debian team, and Debian has a release cycle of 2 years. After every 2 years a major upgrade comes to Debian, but Debian is very conservative in its update. So Linux Mint is based on Ubuntu LTS version, which is also stable, very stable, and it has support for latest hardware. But LMD is even more stable than the Ubuntu edition of the Linux Mint. So it is like the plus stability, because Debian has 3 branches: Debian unstable, Debian testing, and then Debian stable. So what does Debian unstable does? Whatever new features comes in the Linux world, it comes to the Debian unstable branch, and after that, when it is properly checked and the bugs are fixed, then it goes to Debian testing. And in Debian testing also it is maintained there, it is fixed there, so no bugs remain, and it's like for a long period of time, for a pretty much period of time, the software stays in the Debian testing branch to test actually how the software is working, if it's breaking or not, and then it comes to the Debian stable branch. And that is why Debian is actually, we can say that the most stable Linux based operating system is Debian. Debian is rock solid. Debian is like, it will never break. It's like very good for everyday use. But the problem is that Debian is not so user friendly. Debian, you have to configure many things manually in Debian before you can actually use Debian for desktop users. So Debian has many desktop environments for everyday users like GNOME, KD, Plasma, Cinnamon. Debian Cinnamon is a different flavor than LMDE. Actually, LMDE is also based on Cinnamon desktop, and Debian Cinnamon is also Cinnamon desktop. But they both differ. Debian Cinnamon is we will talk about it later, because Debian Cinnamon is just maintained by Debian team. LMDE is just Debian Edition of Linux Mint is maintained by Linux Mint team. So that's the difference. So what are the things changed? So we have already discussed in Linux Mint that there is a new customization in theme. There is a new fingerprint scanner called fingerprint detector called FingWit, and there is the lib adapta new framework which Linux Mint team has developed, and there is many changes to hypnotics. There is many theme changes. There is a lot of changes that changes came to Linux Mint, and the same changes have came to LMD. So there is no difference in that. The difference is just in the base. It's just in the base, like the base layer of the cake. The base layer in the regular Linux Mint is Ubuntu, is the base layer, and in LMD the base layer is Debian stable. That's only the difference. Rest this LMD version is actually just same as the Linux Mint 22.2. Actually LMD feature wise it is the same copy. It is the same copy of the Linux Mint changes on a Debian base, but it still affects a lot. Even if the base is changed, it creates a lot of difference. So why Linux Mint team has developed this LMD? Let us just read for some time. LMD is a Linux Mint project. It stands for Linux Mint Debian Edition, and you can see it's exactly the same as Linux Mint. And why they are developing a separate Debian edition, Debian based edition? It's because Mint would be able to continue to deliver the same user experience. How much work would be involved if Ubuntu was ever to disappear, or if Ubuntu does something very bad or very radical changes, then Linux Mint can quickly switch to the Debian edition. And LMD is also one of our development targets, to guarantee the software we develop is compatible outside of Ubuntu. So not just the Ubuntu base, the Linux Mint customization and all the Linux Mint tools are compatible with Debian also. So LMD aims to be as similar as possible to Linux Mint, but without using Ubuntu. It's just the same. It's just the exact ditto copy of the Ubuntu edition's features, just with a Debian base. I already told you. Okay, so the system requirements are 2 GB RAM, 20 GB disk, but it's 100 GB is recommended, and resolution, and that's all the things. So this is actually LMD. I hope you have understand the concept of LMD. If you did not fully understand what it is, you can just think that it is just an operating system. It is a more stable version of Linux Mint. And one more interesting reason why it is developed that very less people talk about is that Ubuntu base is the actual Ubuntu is developed by a corporate company, Canonical, and what the open source philosophy says that whenever there are corporate interests coming in, it can affect the open sourceness and the freedom of Linux. That's why, just depending on the corporate made the Ubuntu base, we are actually trying to maintain a separate edition, so we can prevent the corporate changes. So the Linux Mint team can preserve the open sourceness of Linux and just a little bit have a side project which is more open source and more which gives users more freedom. So that's why it is developed. I will explain, you will slowly understand it in further videos or you can explore it in the internet. Let us conclude. So what are my opinions is that LMDE is in my opinion better than the Ubuntu, and I love Linux Mint. Linux Mint is very good, but LMDE is because of that philosophy. I also believe in that philosophy that keeping corporate interests and the abrupt changes of corporate things a little bit away from the real open source Linux. That's one thing. But the second reason that LMDE is based on Debian, it is more rock solid. It will not break your workflow. If you are a working professional, if you want to use something which will not change for at least 2 years, and nothing is going to change, and the kernel remains same, the drivers remain same, everything, if you want to get the same for a long period of time, you can use LMD. And LMD is actually more better for older computers because, and I have also installed LMD on my computer, which you can see it is LMDE. It is not Linux Mint. It is LMDE I have installed. And why I have chosen to install LMDE for on my one of the computers. This is a different computer from the computer which I used in the previous video. So in this computer I have installed LMDE because first of all it keeps my system more cooler than Ubuntu based Linux Mint, and it is more stable, and it is when I will do video editing or something, there is very less background processes. So what will happen is that the system will remain more lightweight and the life of my computer will increase in LMD. That's the thing. So if you have a very old computer which and this is a old computer which I am using, and I want to increase its life, I don't want to make my computer suffer with the rapid changes of Ubuntu, because the Ubuntu edition is good for newer hardware, but the Debian edition is good, more better for older hardware. I have experienced that Debian pace keeps my system cool. Basically, if you need newer drivers, if your hardware is new, if you have NVIDIA graphics drivers, if you have NVIDIA graphics card on your PC, you should prefer using the Linux Mint, normal Linux Mint. And the LMD on 7, I didn't tell you the code name. Actually, it's LMD 7 gigi. Gigi is the code name which the Linux Mint team has kept. I don't know the significance of that. So here you can also see the processor I have. I have a Intel Core i3 4th generation. And why do I need latest drivers, latest things on the Intel i3 4th generation? That's why I have installed LMD, because on i3 the 4th generation so old. I need very stable and long lasting base. That's why I have installed the Debian edition of Linux Mint here. You can see the graphics platform is the integrated graphics. So this is the reason, because I have an older i3 4th generation processor CPU. I want everything to stable, long lasting and keep my system cool. On this we get the fingerprints, the Fingwits app. If you have a fingerprint scanner, you can use this app. So all the Linux Mint changes I showed in the previous video are there in this version. I hope I was able to explain you what is LMDE, what are the changes, and so thank you so much for watching, and subscribe to Common Man Linux. Please subscribe if you like this channel. It will support me and encourage me to make more such videos. Thank you everyone. Please like and share this video also if you can. Thank you so much.